We live in a world where people wear business like a badge of honor. But being busy doesn't mean you're strong. Strength, real mental strength, isn't measured by how much noise you can handle, but by how calmly you can sit in silence. Mental strength doesn't mean pretending you're fine. It means being honest enough to say, I'm struggling and still showing up anyway. It's not about avoiding failure. It's about how you stand back up after you've fallen. Too many of us wait for the right time, the right mindset, or the perfect opportunity. But mental strength is built in the waiting. It's created in the daily grind when no one's watching. It's choosing discipline over motivation. It's choosing growth over comfort. So the real question is not, how do I look strong? It's, how do I become someone who doesn't need to look strong? Because I already am. When we think about mental strength, most people rush to strategies, habits, routines, books, podcasts. But all of that is the how. The truth is, no strategy works unless it's grounded in something deeper. That something is your why. Why do you want to be strong? Why are you pushing through discomfort? Why are you willing to wake up early, face fear, or keep going when quitting seems easier? People don't burn out because they're doing too much. They burn out because they've lost connection with why they started in the first place. When your why is clear, your energy becomes focused. You stop reacting to every challenge emotionally, and you start responding to them with purpose. The truth is, life will always throw things at you: uncertainty, rejection, setbacks. If you don't have a foundation of purpose, those things will knock you down every time. But when your why is real, when it's personal, when it hits something deep inside you, you won't just get back up after falling. You'll rise with intention. Your why becomes your anchor when everything else feels chaotic. A strong why also gives you the patience to endure the slow days. And there will be slow days. Days when progress is invisible. Days when no one claps, no one notices, and even you question if it's working. That's when most people quit. Not because they're weak, but because they forgot the reason they began. Your why reminds you that showing up matters, even when there's no proof yet. It helps you trust the process instead of chasing instant validation. Mental strength isn't just about fighting battles. It's about choosing the right ones, and your why helps you choose. This is why clarity is more powerful than confidence. Confidence fades, excitement fades, but clarity sustains. If you know why you're doing something, you can weather doubt, criticism, even failure. So before you change your routine, your habits, or your goals, ask yourself the real question: what is this all for? The answer doesn't have to be grand or impressive. It just has to be honest. Because when your why is true, it will carry you through the days when nothing else can. We're often taught to see pain as a red flag, something that signals we need to stop, retreat, or change direction. But in reality, not all pain is harmful. Some pain is part of the process of growth. Just like your muscles tear slightly before they rebuild stronger, your mind and character often need to endure discomfort before they evolve. Mentally strong people don't label pain as a problem to fix. They recognize it as a necessary part of becoming who they're meant to be. They don't run from it. They learn to walk with it, listen to it, and even grow because of it. Pain is one of life's greatest teachers, if you're willing to sit with it long enough to hear what it's trying to say. Most people react to discomfort with avoidance. They numb it with distractions, cover it with fake positivity, or push it down in silence. But avoiding pain only extends its presence. The stronger approach is to acknowledge it, ask where it's coming from, and understand what it's asking of you. Sometimes pain is telling you that you're out of alignment. But other times, it's simply telling you that you're in transition. That's an important distinction. Mentally strong people learn to reframe pain. Instead of thinking, why is this happening to me? They ask, what is this preparing me for? That one shift in mindset changes everything. Because when you stop seeing pain as the enemy, you begin to see it as part of your training. Athletes don't panic when they feel sore after a workout. They understand that the soreness is a signal that the work is working. In the same way, the pain of growth isn't a warning sign. It's a welcome sign. It means you're pushing beyond what you were yesterday. And here's something most people forget: pain is temporary, but what it produces can be permanent. When you accept pain, instead of resisting it, you gain wisdom. You gain empathy. You gain perspective. Pain stretches your capacity to endure and deepens your ability to connect. It reveals your blind spots and your hidden strengths. Most importantly, it humbles you in a way success never could. That humility is where real strength begins, not in avoidance, but in full, fearless acceptance. There's a reason motivation feels so good. It's emotional fuel. It gives you a rush, a reason to start, a spark that makes everything seem possible. But like all emotions, motivation is temporary. It fluctuates with your mood, your sleep, your environment. If your actions depend on how inspired you feel, then your progress will always be inconsistent. Mental strength isn't built on high-energy moments. It's built on what you do when motivation isn't there. And that's where discipline comes in. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. It cares that you show up. Discipline is quiet. It doesn't need applause. It doesn't post about its progress. It works when the room is empty, when no one is watching, when the rewards are far off. Motivation gets you to the gym on day 1. Discipline gets you there on day 50. Motivation helps you start a journal, a routine, a business. Discipline keeps it going long after the excitement has faded. That's why mentally strong people don't wait to feel like it. They do it because they've decided it's who they are, not just what they want. The power of discipline lies in the commitment to action over emotion. It's waking up and sticking to your routine even when you're tired. It's staying focused on your goals even when distractions look tempting. Discipline rewires your brain to rely less on mood and more on identity. You stop asking, "Do I feel like it?" and start saying, "This is what I do." That small shift builds consistency. And consistency over time builds strength. Not just physical or mental strength, but character strength. We often think discipline is harsh or rigid, but it's actually one of the most loving things you can give yourself. It's the promise that no matter what life throws your way, you'll continue to move forward, that you'll honor your future self by acting today. Not just when you feel good, but especially when you don't. That's where mental toughness is born, not in moments of hype, but in quiet acts of integrity repeated day after day. Saying no seems simple. It's just a word, 2 letters, 1 syllable. But for many people, it's one of the hardest things to say. Why? Because we associate it with letting others down, with being selfish, with closing doors. We live in a culture that rewards the yes sayers, the agreeable, the available, the always on. But mental strength isn't built by pleasing everyone. It's built by protecting your time, your energy, and your focus. And sometimes that means saying no, not out of arrogance, but out of self-respect. When you say yes to everything, you begin to dilute your power. Your attention gets scattered. Your priorities get buried under obligations. You start to live someone else's schedule, not your own. That's when resentment creeps in. Not just toward others, but toward yourself. Mentally strong people understand this trap. They know that a well-placed no isn't rejection, it's redirection. It's the choice to guard your purpose rather than gamble with it. Because every yes is a promise, and promises should never be made out of guilt or fear. The truth is, saying no is a skill, and like any skill, it takes practice. At first, it feels uncomfortable. You'll second guess yourself. You'll feel selfish. But over time, you realize something powerful when you say no to what doesn't align. You make space for what does. You start showing up to fewer things, but you show up better. Your presence becomes intentional, not obligatory. Your energy becomes focused, not fractured. That's when you stop being busy and start being effective. Saying no doesn't make you cold. It makes you clear. And clarity is one of the greatest signs of inner strength. It shows that you've defined what matters most, and you're willing to protect it, even when it's uncomfortable. Because you can't build a mentally strong life if you're constantly living someone else's version of one. Strength is not just about endurance. It's about direction. And every time you say no to the wrong thing, you're saying yes to the right one. Every day, there's a voice in your head, and whether you realize it or not, it's shaping your reality. That voice comments on everything, your worth, your chances, your past, your future. The problem is, most people never question it. They just listen. And when the voice is negative, fearful, or critical, they accept its words as truth. But here's the thing, not every thought is a fact. Mentally strong people understand this. They don't just listen to their inner voice, they talk back. And that makes all the difference. If all you do is absorb the noise in your head, you'll never be in control of your mindset. Thoughts like, I'm not good enough. What if I fail? They'll laugh at me. can loop on repeat if you never interrupt them. Talking to yourself intentionally, clearly, with compassion and courage is how you interrupt the loop. It's how you rewrite the narrative. And this isn't about fake affirmations or empty hype. It's about reminding yourself of the truth when your mind is feeding you fear. It's saying, I've done hard things before. I can do this too. Mentally strong people learn to become their own coaches instead of their own critics. They step outside the spiral of self, doubt, and inject logic, clarity, and encouragement. That doesn't mean they ignore challenges. It means they meet those challenges with perspective. When something goes wrong, instead of spiraling into shame or blame, they say, okay, what can I learn from this? What's my next step? That inner dialogue becomes the foundation of resilience. Because when life gets loud, your internal voice is either your greatest weapon or your greatest weakness. The difference between the two comes down to awareness and practice. You don't develop strong self. Talk by accident. You cultivate it just like you would a muscle. And it starts with being intentional. When your mind starts feeding you fear, talk back with purpose. When you're tempted to quit, remind yourself of your reason to keep going. When you fall short, speak with the same kindness you'd give a close friend. Mental strength isn't about never hearing negative thoughts. It's about refusing to let them lead the conversation. Perfection is one of the most seductive illusions we chase. It promises acceptance, applause, and the comfort of being good enough. But in reality, perfection is a moving target, one that keeps shifting no matter how close you get. And chasing it can be exhausting. Mentally strong people don't fall for that trap. They don't aim to be flawless. They aim to move forward. Because they understand that growth isn't about having it all figured out. It's about showing up, learning, adapting, and doing it again tomorrow. Progress, not perfection, is the path to real strength. The obsession with perfection is often rooted in fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not measuring up. It paralyzes action. You delay starting the project, recording the video, sharing the idea, not because you don't care, but because you care so much you're afraid to do it wrong. But progress gives you permission to be human. It allows you to take imperfect steps, to make mistakes, to be a beginner. And when you embrace progress, you free yourself to evolve. Not only do you move forward, you grow more confident along the way. Mentally strong individuals redefine success. To them, success isn't about flawless execution. It's about consistent effort. They don't wait for perfect conditions to begin. They begin with what they have. And with each attempt, they learn, they grow, they improve. They know that every expert was once a novice, and every polished result came from a messy first draft. They don't waste time polishing what hasn't even been built yet. They build, they iterate, they move. And that's where the real magic happens, not in the final product, but in the courage to keep producing. Choosing progress over perfection also builds emotional resilience. When you're focused on progress, setbacks don't define you. They inform you. Mistakes become data, not defeats. Failures become feedback, not final chapters. This mindset shift protects your energy and preserves your momentum. You stop fearing missteps because you know they're part of the process. And when you operate from that space, you're not just stronger, you're freer. You don't need to look perfect to prove your worth. You only need to keep going. You become a reflection of the people you consistently spend time with. Their energy, their habits, their words, all of it shapes how you see yourself and how you show up in the world. That's why mentally strong people are intentional about who they let into their inner circle. They seek out builders, people who challenge them, uplift them, and want to see them grow. Not because they're perfect, but because they care enough to be honest, supportive, and consistent. Builders don't just cheer when you succeed, they walk beside you when you're struggling too. On the other hand, there are drainers, people who leave you feeling smaller, not stronger. They minimize your ambitions, amplify your fears, or subtly chip away at your confidence. And the danger is, they're not always obvious. Sometimes they come disguised as friends, colleagues, even family, people who mean well, but project their own limitations onto your life. Mentally strong individuals recognize this pattern early. They don't respond with anger or bitterness. They respond with boundaries. Because protecting your peace is not selfish. It's essential. Strong relationships are not built on constant agreement. They're built on mutual growth. The right people will stretch your thinking without tearing down your spirit. They'll offer constructive feedback, not passive judgment. They'll hold you accountable, not hostage. Builders remind you of your values when you forget. They believe in your potential even when you doubt yourself. That kind of presence is rare, and it's worth cultivating. Because no matter how mentally tough you are, environment still matters. Even the strongest flame flickers in toxic air. Surrounding yourself with builders doesn't mean cutting everyone off. It means curating your energy. It means choosing proximity wisely. Who challenges you to rise? Who reminds you of your why? Who makes you want to become better? Not out of pressure, but out of inspiration. These are the people who fuel your strength, not drain it. They don't need to fix you. They simply walk with you, encourage you, and believe that you can handle whatever life throws your way. And just as importantly, you become a builder for them in return. So what does it truly mean to be mentally strong? It doesn't mean you never feel fear. It doesn't mean you never fall apart or doubt or get tired. It means that even in those moments, you keep choosing. You choose clarity over chaos. You choose discipline over excuses. You choose progress over perfection. You choose yourself again and again, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's quiet, even when no one else understands. Mental strength isn't a gift. It's not reserved for a lucky few. It's a choice, a series of choices made every single day in how you talk to yourself, in who you allow into your life, in what you say yes to, and what you protect with a no. And when you realize that strength is something you build, not something you wait for, everything changes. You don't have to be the loudest, the smartest, or the most talented. You just have to be the one who refuses to give up. The one who keeps walking, keeps learning, keeps showing up. That's mental strength, and it's already inside you, waiting to be claimed, shaped, and lived. So take a deep breath, start where you are, and don't aim to be perfect, aim to be powerful. Quietly, consistently, and relentlessly, that's how the strongest minds are made.